Hello and welcome to the Bel-E and Scratch podcast. I am your host, Bel-E.
And I am your co-host, Scratch.
And today, oh boy.
Oh boy.
I mean, I had a subject I wanted to kind of integrate into the podcast, but...
You've had an interesting couple of weeks.
I have had a very interesting couple of weeks.
To grow as an individual.
Yeah, and I'm still growing.
Well...
First I went from the warehouse getting baked to death, and then I went into, basically snooty customer service.
The 7th level of hell.
Yeah. Just got dropped straight into that bitch.
It's crazy.
Developed anxiety and a slight eating disorder, although I say slight because it wasn't anorexia, but there would be times where I would be so freaked out where the sensation in your brain that caused you to get hungry would never come.
It's absolutely amazing to me how customer service just ruins everything.
I just don't get it. Like, when I finally, released all those demons in the last podcast,
yeah.
I can't listen to that podcast again. Not right now, not at this stage, because otherwise it's all going to come back.
Quitter.
Hey, you be quiet. Hey, look, sometimes you got, Look, sometimes you have to put something down.
Yes.
So you can clear your mind of it.
Correct.
And then once you revisit it, yes, it's going to bring back some painful memories, but it won't hurt as badly as when it first happened. Does that make sense?
Right.
I'm not saying shut it away forever because that's going to cause problems down the line.
Maybe.
But, so there are some things that are worth revisiting,
Well, there are things that are worth revisiting. There are things that you can't help but revisit.
Yes.
I can remember a time when, pain was all I knew.
Yes.
So I would encourage associations that would trigger that pain.
Yeah.
That's not a very healthy way to live.
No, it's not. But
it really isn't.
But here's the thing. That's kind of this whole, What? Hey.
It's a little different.
Oh, the peach soju I still have.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's just different.
Yeah, it is different.
I think it's because it's made of rice and not like barley or wheat or anything.
Probably.
Like soju is for people who want to drink something that's exotic from the quote unquote Far East, but you hate sake.
The kisses of angels.
Ugh. I hate sake so much. Like, I can never find a good one. And whenever I find one that's supposedly good, no one can tell me if I'm supposed to drink it hot or cold. Does that make sense?
That's a good point.
Because some sakes are designed to be drinking cold, and some are designed to be drinking warm.
And I just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, and if you fuck up, then you just paid $45 for a piece of shit. That may or may not have been a piece of shit had you been known beforehand.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the money.
Mm-mm.
If
it's not money.
It's not money. If it tastes good, it tastes good. If it doesn't taste good, it doesn't taste good.
Yeah. And I'm sick and tired of paying for shit that tastes bad. Like you and steak.
Yeah. Oh.
And now I got the grapefruit one.
Cool.
Anyway, but that'll be for a little bit later. So
yeah, if I can cook a steak better than you owe me money.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So your week.
Oh my God. But, basically what I've decided to do is a combination of things. Number one, I am trying to recover. I'm still trying to recover from the day I got popped by the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Tuesday that broke me.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I knew I was supposed to be in this current job that I am now officially in.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew I was supposed to be in this job because, I was being invited to join. I already had the certification to do it, but I sat on my ass for like a month and a half to 2 months, just hemming and hawing.
Well,
that whole imposter syndrome getting to me.
Yeah.
And then I went into that job that basically broke my brain. So I decided to take it as a sign from God or the universe, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
As hey, get your shit together. Hey, if it takes a pop, I'll take it. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, why did you have to hit so hard?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, sometimes, I mean, you have to realize how you're structured.
Yes.
As an individual.
Yes.
And
I am not built for customer service.
Maybe that hard pop, that's what it took for you.
Yes.
Because if you'd had a pleasant experience,
I'd still be there.
You would still be there.
Yeah, and it was fine, and, you know, with the exception of whatever oppressive atmosphere that was encircling the building that I tried to ignore. You know, yeah, again, I still have no idea what's happening. Like, I still have shirts, a name tag, and a key to the building that I am reluctant to go back there. I'm not joking. All I have to do is drop that stuff off, say, you know, hey, sorry it didn't work out, y'all be good, and then leave. And I don't even want to do that.
You don't even want to walk in the shadow.
No.
Yeah. I
don't even want to be in the parking lot of that building.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to recover from that, you know, reading books. I don't mean self-help books because sometimes that it is a little preachy and can be construed in a certain way.
True.
No, I mean like stuff like philosophy type books. The two I'm reading at this particular time is one is called The Untethered Soul, and I forget who wrote it, but I have some kind of EPUB PDF version of it.
Yeah.
Because if I am one thing, if you can call me a thief of something, I am a thief of knowledge.
Get in line.
Yeah, I know. You know, I'm not going to steal your car. I won't steal your house. I ain't going to steal your man. But if they have knowledge that I want, that is what I'm after.
Yeah.
Because I want the truth. And I've been, you know, this whole thing of me hemming and hawing, you know, spiritual journey, you know, enlightenment of the soul, yada, 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 whatever you want to call it. And this book, The Untethered Soul, it has presented something that I've always had issues grappling with whenever I took any sort of philosophy class. The three primary these aren't it. They're just kind of like the main trunks of the tree, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's like the concept of God or a higher force.
Sure.
No problem.
No problem.
I got that.
Yeah.
There's the concept of morality, which I'm not really good at, apparently.
Oh, I don't know.
I know morality can be subjective, and it's not that I can't understand the concept of it. It's just apparently my morals or concept of morality lines up different from the rest of my teachers, and they're always like, I mean, you understood the subject, but I'm going to give you a lesser grade because I don't agree with your morality stance. And it always pissed me off. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
You know, it's something like, a good one that I was always presented with was, say a husband's wife. She's sick, and a wife, specifically a wife, or a spouse, or whatever the fuck you want to talk about. Not you specifically, I just mean people in general listening to this.
Sure.
So, your wife is sick. She's sick with a specific disease that only one doctor in town knows how to cure, but because the doctor is like, I have a degree, and I crafted this cure, you know.
Yeah. You
know, I spent years studying how to treat illnesses, and I spent years how to craft cures for illnesses. So this is the price I need for my service as a doctor. You know, for my years of studying and dedication to the basically arts of medicine.
Yeah.
Sometimes science is more art than science, as Rick Sanchez said. So the husband cannot pay the price that the doctor's offering for the cure for his wife. So he basically has to steal the cure in order to save his wife. Now, who's in the wrong, the doctor or the husband? Does that make sense? That's kind of one question of morality that is usually thrown at me.
Sure.
And, you know,
one side says, I've paid the price to gain this knowledge. I feel
I'm worthy to charge this much.
I am due compensation.
Yes. And the other is
doesn't necessarily have to say I am due to be rich.
Sure, but I am due compensation.
I am due something in exchange for this price that I have paid to gain this knowledge.
Yes. And the other is trying to save their loved one's life.
Their loved one's life.
You see?
Right.
So...
No, I get it.
So that's kind of what I mean by, in terms of the concept of how you feel more, in terms of a moral stance. The teacher would just be like, you technically got the concept, but I don't agree with it, because depending on the teacher, I could side one way or the other, and it wouldn't matter, because it depended on how the teacher believed that, how they should answer the question, you know.
Oh, I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, in terms of...
their interpretation of that.
Correct.
And they're going to test you on that perspective.
Yes.
Pre-event bias.
Correct. Yeah, pre-event bias.
Pre-event bias.
And then there's what the concept of the book, The Untethered Soul, talks about, which is the concept of the self.
Yeah.
Who are you? I don't mean your name. I don't mean your life story.
Right.
I don't mean who you were when you were in the 9th grade. I don't mean, you know, who you are as a person. I don't mean the voice in your head that talks to you, because apparently that's not you either. You know, the voice in your head that pops up and be like, hey, I want some pizza. No, I shouldn't have pizza because otherwise I'll gain weight. But pizza sounds really good. Oh, hey, what's on the television? Apparently that's not you either.
Really?
So that's basically where I'm at. The voice in your head, that is not you. You are not your thoughts. It is the you.
Right.
Is the you that is listening to those thoughts. The thing, the soul, the Atman, as they say in Hinduism. I might be saying that wrong, but the thing at the seat of consciousness.
Right.
That is as close as we're going to get to who you, I don't mean you as a person, I just mean you as in general, is. And I'm like, fuck me up!
Does that...
I don't mean fuck me up as I need to get drunk to comprehend this. I mean fuck me up as terms of I'm ready to have my world just completely shattered.
So when it talks about the untethered self, the untethered soul,
yes,
whatever,
yes,
does it give a path to
in order to find it? Yeah.
Yeah, exhibit it. There
is a way. Hang on. There's a Blair. I'm minimizing all this stuff. I have like an ebook reader.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, you know, it's
mind you, I'm only on chapter 4. This is like a really short book. It's only 150 pages long.
Okay. The
Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
And I'm only on chapter 4, but the previous 3 chapters make a lot of sense.
Right.
Because the way it gets you to understand the voice in your head is not actually you. It defines it as your really annoying inner roommate.
To attach any kind of motive to what you're seeking? Or
basically, according to the guy, now, mind you, I have, who the fuck wrote this book? I'm sorry. No. Michael Singer. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Now you can look it up. Or not you, but, people listening.
Yeah, I already did.
Yeah. Alright, so it defines the inner roommate, as what I'm going to be referring it to.
Right.
As it is basically in a nutshell, from what I've gleaned from it, a defense mechanism for the humans.
Okay.
Meaning it will take aspects of reality, filter it. That inner roommate acts as a filter in order for the brain to better understand it.
To shape it into something that the brain understands?
Yes. Meaning, gives things context, labeling, and, in sort of an internal file system.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why when
as according to the place where you would put it, so far as in your filing cabinet,
I
or
suppose
the
so.
motive in which it's presented to you.
I think initially it was supposed to be some sort of a way for us to, not experience life in a certain way in order to basically water it down.
Right.
Like have something narrate everything and put it into some sort of a familial context. I think the example he uses is you walk outside, there's a tree, your brain sees it, narrates, oh, this is the tree in my front yard. I know this tree. And now you have attached a label and you've become familiar with it because of this inner roommate. So now it's not just a tree. It's the tree in your front yard. That's what I mean by, I think that's what he's talking about by, again, haven't read the whole book, but I think that's what he's talking about by this inner roommate is being used as a defense mechanism in order for the brain to process things a certain way in order to formulate action.
Sure.
But sometimes it can get out of control.
Well,
and it becomes this nagging voice in your head.
Any of that theoretical stuff
sure.
can go into some very interesting direction.
No, I know that. Like I'm not suggesting that people induce ego death or anything like that because I personally think that's ridiculous.
I do too.
The ego is there. You don't have to shackle it or even kill it because it's a part of you.
You can get from place to place in a wheelchair, but you'd rather use your feet.
Exactly.
So,
I'm not saying never change. I'm not saying don't learn how to harness this.
Be open to other options.
But be open to other options.
But,
does that make sense?
Yeah.
So.
That's a good point. I feel that there are a lot of people that. I'm not going to say fail.
No.
Thank you. I'm not going to say fail, but they have a tendency to dismiss
yes
their gifts or attributes that allow them to engage life.
Yes.
They think there's something wrong with them. The way you're, characteristics of the way you're born.
Mm-hmm.
What your pigmentation is.
Yes.
Whatever the equipment you're born with.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to discount
these things.
Yes. And actually transition into the exact opposite. But I think that's the wrong way to go.
No.
I think that's like a bird wanting to be a fish.
I know. I think part of that
is the way you're created is the way you need to embrace so you can understand the world.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of why I feel people who do those things, they were not raised to appreciate what they were born with.
That's what I think.
Or in order to harness it, so they think that the solution is to go to the exact opposite side of the fence. And, for the most part, I have done that to an extent, and I know you have told me growing up that people on the other side of the fence of where you grew up are just as, dysfunctional, petty.
Absolutely.
As the side of the fence you grew up on.
Absolutely.
And I did believe you. It's not that I thought you were a liar.
Mm-mm.
But I knew in my heart this would be something I would have to experience firsthand.
Right.
And I have. And the realization of that, is like, it's one of those things where, I don't know, you confirm that 2 + 2 is actually 4, even though your whole life were told that. And you believed it. You didn't have a reason to doubt it.
No.
Ever.
And you weren't specifically trying to disprove it.
No, and I wasn't trying to disprove it either. But then all of a sudden, you just get yourself in the proper situation, around the proper people.
Right.
And then you put 2 and 2 back together and go, I knew the answer was right and I'm still surprised. Does that make sense?
There was this individual that sought out the Zen master. And the Zen
I'm listening.
master said, and the individual said, how can I find inner peace. And
Yes.
he said, go over and sit under the tree.
Tree.
Oof.
Yeah, I know you like the grapefruit.
Keep saying, I want inner peace. I want inner peace. And he ignores it. Then he goes to the second master.
Yeah.
The second master says, I want you to go in there and I want you to clean that bar. 5 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. It was just one of those things when I came to that realization. I literally had the words, I knew what the answer was, and I'm still surprised.
You know,
come out of my mouth
personally, and and then I'm gonna advise you as I would advise anybody, and I wish I had someone to tell me this back in the day is, don't beat yourself up.
No.
For testing. Yeah.
Because that's what I was doing.
I don't think there's. I don't want to get into the biblical aspects of it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll get there.
It's unfortunate that some doctrines downplay the importance of testing.
Yes.
They call it a lack of faith, but I don't call it that.
I think
you just need to cement something into place.
I don't think it's a lack of. Instead of a lack of faith, maybe you should call it a test of faith. Like, go out into the world.
Exactly. You should test those things. I mean, there are a lot of people that are told things that just don't work.
No.
And the only way to discover
is to put it to the test.
Is to put it to the test.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Don't.
Plus, not everything is meant to be applicable at every given situation.
No.
Several years ago, at first I didn't have the answer to this, and I think you and I did discuss the answer. I remember getting into a conversation with somebody who, and this might be part of the reason why a lot of the doctrine surrounding American evangelicalism completely dismisses the Old Testament, is because there are aspects of the Old Testament that, as a rule, either don't like to be discussed for various reasons, or they're no longer applicable to the culture at large. Because some of it, I'm not saying 100% of it, but some of it. Because
I can streamline that.
Oh yes, I'm going to ask you to streamline it, because she was just distraught over how there were like some of the laws of Moses that said that a woman had to marry her rapist. And at the time, I didn't have an answer for her.
Yeah, that's not really true.
But, exactly. But I knew there was more to it than just what she had said. I'm not saying it never happened, but there was a reason why that was true then. But right now, at this time, it is not true.
No, it is not true today.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so now streamline it. Go for it.
There are things that, obviously, within the context of being 5,000-10,000 years ago, whenever this took place, there are parameters that it does not recommend you engage, and but the basic foundation of it is applicable.
Yes.
In any and all situations.
Yes.
One of the biggest reasons that certain aspects of evangelical circles are intimidated by the Old Testament is because the Old Testament will challenge their doctrine.
Yes.
Not the actual belief system.
Sure.
The doctrine has extrapolated some parameters that are not supported by the Old Testament. And so
because remember, doctrine is interpretation.
That is why they are intimidated by it.
Mm-hmm. Because it challenges the interpretation, not the belief system itself.
Right.
So,
in a verse that would be interpreted as someone would choose a life with another who, within the parameters that we define them today, would be criminal.
Uh-huh.
There was a time when, in the communities, the way they were structured,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
that for you to, I would imagine it all goes back to conceiving a child. Everybody, if someone, there is a big social push that has happened in my lifetime about, say, a man wedding a woman that is having his child.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that particular perspective would play into a situation like this. Although today, someone who has experienced that type of wrong would have options.
Sure. Yes.
But 5,000 years ago,
they did not.
They did not.
Understandable.
I don't. What people don't understand about biblical perspective and especially Old Testament, is that this is a roadmap to life. It's a roadmap to existence.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, this information was forbidden knowledge.
Yes.
Until an individual that is celebrated in Western culture appeared approximately 2,000 years ago. It wasn't just the deed or the act that this individual is associated with. It is that this information was withheld from people outside that particular tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And this individual was...
he let the information slip.
Well, you could say instrumental.
Yeah.
But then there's a point where there's the original event.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of people that will try to say
mm-hmm.
that, oh, well, just people in general understand this information. No, they don't. No, they don't. What people don't really, what people don't realize is that to gain, there is always a best. Any crossroads that you come to on a choice,
yeah,
there is always one is always better than the other.
Sure.
Even though at times people will use the term lesser of two evils.
Sure.
There is one choice even in the lesser of two evils.
One choice that's better.
One choice is better.
Sure.
So when you begin to entertain life, you begin to entertain making choices about life, there is a series of decisions that are better than others.
Yeah.
And this text
outlines it,
discusses it, talks about it.
No, I figure.
You can be assured, absolutely assured,
mm-hmm.
that people in power today,
yeah,
whether they are in their private lives fully engaged in the decisions they say they make, so far as a marriage. Let's just say a marriage, okay? Sure. Just one man, one woman.
Or whatever.
And one individual with one individual. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for you to obtain progress in any way, shape, or form,
mm-hmm.
It is better to, for example, stay with the original partner of the children that you create. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you can, if you're able to, it is best to, whatever problems come up, to work that out.
Uh-huh.
Versus
just throw the whole thing out.
Just throw the whole thing out. Yeah. Now, obviously, there are dysfunctional situations where people need to get completely away from it. And I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about functional interaction between people that doesn't necessarily involve any crime or violence.
Or anything dysfunctional.
Anything dysfunctional, yeah.
Yes.
These choices are better. And if you look at individuals,
mm-hmm.
as a rule, who have adopted it doesn't have to have any spirituality associated with it at all. The spirituality associated with it, in my opinion, is mainly because at one time in our ancient past, I believe that everything was taught from a spiritual perspective.
Sure.
Like today, we can say, we know what causes the rain, and we know what causes the wind, and we know what causes the clouds and the sun and the moon and all that stuff. So we don't have to we don't have to concern ourselves with those particulars.
Sure.
But at one time, we didn't understand how those dynamics happened, how they took place, and the influence that they had on our lives. So what we did was we attached some type of interaction, either from the other elements' involvement or our involvement, to the belief system that we have.
Yeah.
So now, today, because of science, we can say that this happens because of science, and we can concentrate on those elements around us. If you embrace those elements that are taught by these ancient texts, that your life will be better than if you did not.
Sure.
And I think ultimately that's what it's all about. People want to attach God, they want to attach religion, they want to attach some kind of...
Sometimes it's not always about that.
No, it isn't.
Sometimes it's about this is the best way to exist. If you're just not looking for problems,
right?
Does that make sense?
Right.
So
yeah, and there are people that engage particular elements of lifestyle and society. They're
gonna have problems.
You're gonna have problems.
Yeah,
you're gonna have problems. You can point fingers and be upset because you say or you think that the rest of the world just isn't progressive and coming along with everybody else. You can do that. There's
just some aspects where you are going to have problems if you continue to live this way.
Gravity is gravity.
Yeah, gravity is gravity.
There are things in this world that is unmutable, and they are there, and you can ignore them at your peril.
Sure. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that 100%, obviously there is a portion of it that I would say, like, I don't think that's a good idea, but there are certain lifestyles and how people live their, exist where it's like, at the end of the day, I have to go, like, you do realize this is going to cause issues, but hey, look, if they know the risks and they're still willing to put up with it, I'm like, okay, go on ahead.
Well, I think a lot of people are, because they're not raised in an environment that embraces or acknowledges these types of dynamics.
Sure.
I think they're the first ones that, when you follow your heart, when they walk a path that is outside the parameters that are set forth, for lack of a better expression.
Sure.
Normal.
Whatever.
They're the first ones to cry foul.
Sure.
They're saying that my life isn't working out because you, that individual over there, you are not embracing what I am embracing. But what they don't understand is, and some do, and they refuse to accept it, those are the people that end up being cursed. That they see the reality unfolding before them, and they refuse. They still don't want to see it. They still don't want to see it, although they see the reality of it. And then once that realization is a part of them,
yep,
they'll never outrun it.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So, what happens is, they're the first. It's very common for these folks to be. That's where the
kind of in denial of the whole thing.
Well, it's kind of in denial. They're constantly. They're never happy.
No, they ain't.
They're never happy.
No.
Okay. It's one of those. It creates that implacable mindset where you can't be pleased. Because what you are, it's like saying, okay, I want to jump in the ocean and I want to be able to breathe underwater.
You're not built for that.
You're not built for that.
No.
Okay. You can want it as much as you want it. You can complain about why all the factors. There used to be more oxygen in the ocean until everybody polluted the ocean, and now we don't have enough oxygen that we can.
But you're still not built to breathe in water.
You're still not built to breathe underwater. You're not. Your original design.
Yeah, it said. This is what the Untethered Soul talks about.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Instead of trying to find peace and happiness through external means like that,
yeah,
you need to seek it within.
The individual. The
individual needs to find their own inner peace.
Oh, you would have to.
Yeah.
You would have to.
Yeah.
If you're,
like
there's a reason that
yes.
There's a reason that when a man and a woman get together, they have children. I mean, there's just
stuff happens.
It's a natural order of things.
Sure.
I mean, you can fight natural order if you want to. And there are right now, in my opinion, there are huge swaths
of people trying to fight the natural order.
Fight the natural order of things.
Yeah, stuff like
but
that.
But you're not going to outrun it.
No, you can't outrun it.
That's why I don't get bent out of shape. People say, well, you choose a life. It's traditional.
What's wrong with traditional?
Well, the issue is there's a reason that it's traditional.
Yeah, because sometimes it'll work.
Yeah.
Now,
It's the difference between, I'm going to ride my bike at night.
Yes.
And I'm going to wear all black. Do you want to die?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ride your bike at night and wear all black and see how long you live.
Yeah.
Okay. There's just a way. You need to when you ride your bike at night, you need to wear something that can be seen when light hits you.
Yes.
Something luminous.
Yes.
You can argue with it all you want to.
But at the end of the day, sometimes it just be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus, I personally would never advocate for, like we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, people who don't explore, don't put to the test their beliefs and their traditions to see if it's worth keeping or something that needs to be put away.
Now, there are some people that, based on the life experience they've had up to that point,
sure.
They don't feel the need to test it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's fear.
Yeah.
It means that in its own small way, it has proven itself to them.
Yes.
So
kind of like, me and finally, having that realization of the people on the other side of the fence are just as murphed up and
absolutely
all that in a bag of tater chips as the other side of the fence, as my side of the fence. And it's like I said, I knew it was true and I was still surprised. So
that'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't discourage me at all. It's just one of those things where it's like, well, shit. Now what?
It's kind of annoying when that does happen.
Yeah, because there is always that small part of you that's like, maybe, just maybe. However small it was with me.
This unrealistic, idealized version of the life.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
And then it all just kind of crashes down around you, and you're just going, well, I knew it was going to happen, but I tried. And that's kind of why I don't beat myself up over it. Is
no,
like, you know
can't.
What? I tried.
You can't.
I set out, I didn't want to get hurt. I didn't want other people getting hurt. I set out to try to do this, and I had fun. It was fun while it lasted. But at the end of the day, it's just not sustainable.
No. It's much harder to hold on to embracing things that I would call the natural order of things.
Sure.
For lack of a better term.
Whatever.
Come natural.
Yeah. Whatever.
So, what happens is basically you have to work so hard
in order just to keep the status quo.
If you're engaging in activity, action, behavior that is outside that through line.
It doesn't make someone lesser for testing the waters.
Well, a lot of times it makes people angry. It makes people angry at other people.
Yeah.
Because they're wanting to see the world the way they want to see it.
And it just doesn't pan out.
And it doesn't pan out, so they get angry at everybody else.
Yeah.
When, and these to me, and there's a tremendous amount of people in this category, and this goes from people who barely know their right from their left to extremely educated people.
Oh, of course.
They want to see the world a particular way, and heaven help you or anything that interferes with them trying to interpret the world this way.
Yeah, exactly.
And they become very angry.
But that's just not how it works.
It's like trying to change the course of a river.
Yes.
That just doesn't happen.
No,
it doesn't.
So ultimately, I'm just happy I didn't get mad. Does that make sense? I didn't get mad at life because things didn't pan out my way.
And that's good. That's good. It's easy to get into that, life sucks and I don't want to be here anymore. Maybe you put yourself in a situation. It isn't life, per se. You're trying to make something work that wasn't meant to work.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and that doesn't, and I know we get into this, I guess that must be tough to come from a generation of people who, your goal is to win at the game that you play.
And you can't win. Yeah, I gather that, but
sometimes survival is the win.
Indeed.
But
sometimes you got to move past the survival and get into a place where you can just be fine. You know. But anyway.
Don't take things personal.
Nope. Don't take things personal. Don't make assumptions.
Right.
Always do your best.
You do your best, and you learn something. And there you go.
Makes me happy.
Yeah.
And the other oh my God, I've had the weirdest middle of a year in a long time. Going from this and that until basically the entirety of last week.
Yeah.
Essentially, it was just in this mode that I have not been in probably since I was a child.
Yeah.
Where, this feeling of I'm not expected to be somewhere at a certain time, and it doesn't dictate when I go to bed, when I wake up, when I get to eat, where I need to go, how far, how long. And that's kind of been my entire week last week, was just this completely formless, structureless time frame that I've always held on to, Well, now, I don't like having that constant structure, but it just completely flipped on its head.
Well, now you can see both sides of the fence.
Yes.
Because you were raised in a way that structure wasn't there.
Yes.
And then you were put into the system.
Yeah.
Where you saw the structure.
People who lived and died by the structure.
And ultimately, mainly because they
don't know anything else.
They don't know anything else.
Yes.
And now you come out on the other side.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying I never paid a price for this ability to essentially create my own schedule.
Right.
And it is just weird because I've just taken these trips outside of the state I'm in.
Yeah.
To like forests, mountains, these places of, nature. Not per se amusement parks, because I'm like, I'd rather go somewhere where I can be sort of kind of by myself.
Sort of.
Yeah. And I downloaded these books that's, dealing with philosophy, the self, and, self-healing, become a whole person. Just because I just wanted some perspective.
Right.
And it's just been this weird ride where I don't have to wake up at 6 in the morning every day, except for maybe the weekends. I don't have to be at this particular place at this time and eat at this time. You know?
Right.
That whole 9 to 5 work week.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Eat at a time and not when you're hungry.
Yes.
Yeah. If you get to a point in life where you only eat when you're hungry and you only sleep when you're tired,
Yeah.
you've made it.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're on a schedule. You have to go to bed at a certain time. You have to get up at a certain time. You have to eat at a certain time.
And I think for the most part, I am getting into that little world where, you know, obviously there will be structure because I make the structure.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's just come and go as I please.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you what a lot of people don't understand is when you get in that particular situation, you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to turn off that
that ability to make the structure.
Right. Because sometimes you do need it. Some people need it more than others.
Yes.
Some people can't live without it.
Sure.
Some people can't live with it.
Yeah.
But that
but it is there.
But it is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm gonna slack off or anything. I just basically took the entire most of the last week off, and I just kind of went, I now can, like, go to the mountains.
Right.
Whenever the fuck I want.
Right.
I can
It's easy
go
to get
into the city.
It's very easy to get caught up in that 9 to 5.
Yes, and I was.
And can't see a life outside of that.
Yeah, and
it's
I kind of was.
Very easy to do. It's very easy to do.
Yeah, that little existential dread did get me to an extent.
Yeah.
But that was basically the entirety of last week. I spent just getting out of that headspace.
Yeah.
Now it's not 100% gone.
No.
But the realization of I can go anywhere I want, I can do pretty much whatever I want within reason.
Right.
You know, I can go talk to people I've never spoken to before.
Hop on a plane and fly to another country.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to.
Yeah. Or across my country
if
I wanted.
If you wanted. Yeah.
And it was just this sudden realization of not only do I have a career, it's not even a job, really, it's a career now,
right,
where I can set my own schedule, make a lot of money, and it's relatively, you know, it's not like, you know, it's not, you know, stupidly physically taxing on you. Taxing for the other person.
Not in a negative way.
Not in a negative way. Not like when I was lifting boxes at the warehouse for chump change.
What I do, which is I'm on my feet beating my body up all day long.
Yeah, that's of course. And you are...
For the job.
Yeah, for the job. And you are transitioning out of it, thank God.
But you have the ability to, any type of exertion you have, I mean...
It's voluntary.
It's voluntary.
Yeah.
And it is, I would imagine, solely based on self-improvement.
Exactly. So that it was just that sensation is just weird to me.
Right. It's just new to you.
Yeah, it's new, and I don't regret it at all.
I think that's one of the hardest things for me, trying to get to the next level of income, affluence.
Yeah.
Is because I'm not familiar what that level feels like. And I'm having this tendency to
kind of not take that first step.
Not take that first step, or not let go of where I am now.
Yeah, the hardest part about going up the ladder rung of the transition is letting go of the one you had your hand on.
Right, because you're reaching for a rung that you've never grasped before.
And in order to hold on to it, you have to let go of the previous rung.
Right, you have to let go of what you know.
Yes.
And what has, even if you see your existence as a deficit, you still trust the rung that you're holding on to or that you're standing on.
Sure.
Because that's, even as dysfunctional as it might be, you have become comfortable in relying on it to the level that you do.
Yeah.
So,
and that's kind of why I say sometimes there's a time.
Yeah.
There's a time and place for the survival mechanism, and it is always there. But there has to be a time where you have to advance past your survival mode.
You do.
You know?
There is, I mean, and even as hard as life can be, you know, that's one of the most amazing things about us as human beings. And I would submit this to anyone who would listen or entertain the thought.
Sure.
That human beings are the most adaptable species on the planet.
Yes.
Because we can live in the most pleasant of circumstances.
Yeah.
And we can live in the most cruel of circumstances.
Yes.
So having the ability to do that, we will sometimes continuously subject ourselves to inappropriate or dysfunctional interactions, situations, lifestyle choices, because we literally, for no other reason than we literally have the ability to survive it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where I am very adamant about the soul searching aspect that I'm trying to do.
Right.
Is I want to know. Not, for me, it's not purely an aspect of who am I, although that is on the table.
Sure.
But me personally, I'm just in this mode of, all right, what am I willing to put up with, and what am I willing to say, hey, don't do that.
Right.
What is my boundaries now? What am I going to allow myself to tolerate? What would be a positive thing for me? What would be a negative thing for me? Does that make more sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So it's not that I'm completely rejecting anything I've been raised with, being in the religion of the T-posing. I'm not rejecting any of that. It's more along the lines of, what about me?
Well, I think that's an oversimplification of you have ultimately two choices to make. You can make the choice of what's not best for me.
Yes.
Or make the choice what is best for me. And what is better.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong. You ultimately, I think, have to, and I don't know if this is nature or nurtured. I would lean that more of this is nurture.
Sure.
But I believe that if you are given the nurture of everything's okay, you're okay, you can have what you want,
sure,
and you can work to improve whatever it is you get that you want. And then there's the exact opposite, which is you're not worthy, you're not worth it, you don't have the ability, you don't deserve better.
Yes.
And I think people fall into those two categories. I think if you are raised to believe that you can do well, and as well as you do, you always deserve better.
Deserve better.
Deserve it.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Yes.
And then there's people that don't think they don't deserve it.
And that's wrong.
And that's wrong.
Yes.
That's just wrong. I don't care what belief system it comes out. I don't care what you come out of.
You always deserve better.
You always deserve better. You don't deserve pain. You don't deserve suffering. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, pain and suffering are part of life, for sure. But constant pain and suffering.
Yeah, I mean, if you were involved, and I've run into it, I have seen it, we're all just wretched sinners, and we just don't deserve... Blah.
I hate those people.
I'm sick of it. I feel sorry for them. I feel pity for them. Because they're literally in a prison. They're in a bondage of their own making. The belief system they follow, they believe they deserve pain. And they don't.
And I don't jive with that.
No, I don't jive with that either. It's garbage.
Yeah. Seek self-improvement, because what may work for you may not work for another person.
Well, the problem is if you have the wrong attitude when you approach it. If you think you don't deserve it, you'll never get it.
Exactly.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care what belief system you get involved in. I don't care what building you go hang out in.
Yeah.
I don't care who you listen to. If you don't think you'll deserve it,
you'll never
achieve it.
Yeah,
never.
Just like if you believe you do deserve better, you will eventually achieve it. You will
eventually achieve it. Yeah, it's a universal.
Yeah, this is why I've kind of come to the conclusion that, all right, now I'm slightly tipsy from the soju, so this may take a while for me to explain properly. I'm just telling you. So, if God is the Word, and the Word is God, and the Word is also the words we speak,
don't hurt yourself.
I'm trying. So, we essentially have this divine right of speech. Because what else on the planet can talk?
Nobody.
Huskies are close. Yeah. Huskies scare the shit out of me because they'll talk back.
They're a very interesting breed of dog.
Yes, but anyway. So, speaking in itself is a divine act because we as humans are basically the only species on this particular planet that can do it.
Yes.
And therefore, we are essentially, by talking, casting spells on ourselves and other people. Because it is what we speak.
I think that's ultimately true, regardless of the presentation.
This is why affirmations work.
They do.
Is because we say things enough to where our brain will finally kick in and go, hey, maybe this is the thing.
Do we have to have a discussion about quantum mechanics?
I'm not well versed in that area, so I'm going to politely decline until I do better research.
If you say you will, then you will.
Yes.
If you say you won't, then you won't.
Yes.
What else is there?
I know. Yeah, yeah.
That's okay.
Man, this
That's
soju,
okay. No, I mean,
this soju got hands.
You gotta reach a point. I mean, I know it sounds like some kind of cliche byline on every other self-help.
But surprisingly, it's not.
But it's not. It's not.
Like, I have an entire notebook that I carry around with me that is just nothing but, it's literally just kind words and affirmations of kindness, of love, of power, of a personal growth.
Right.
And I don't have to say them all the time, but I have this pocket full of these positive things, like, I am loved, I am secure, don't take everything personally. Don't take anything personally. Always do your best.
Right.
I am not personally responsible for other people's problems and stuff like that.
Right.
And I carry this little pocketbook of positivity with me because of the job I just had at the snooty customer service place, because I was losing my fucking mind.
Yeah.
And just embroiled in this painful negative environment, this toxic workplace, that I kept this book of positive sayings, and when I was just at my limit and I was able to go to the bathroom, because sometimes that didn't happen. Yes, I know.
Sure.
I know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. I would say some of these things to me in the bathroom, to myself in the bathroom, and I would feel just a smidge in bed, just a smidge.
Just a little.
Just a little. Little words of encouragement. And I don't think I'm crazy for doing it.
No.
But I'm going to keep adding things to my pocketbook of positivity. Because it has worked for me thus far.
If you believe it works, it works.
Yes.
If it works, it works.
Because I came to the conclusion of if the ability to speak is in itself something that is divine and positive and can be used for negativity, I would rather do it for positive against myself.
Right.
Does that make more sense?
Anything that you say about yourself that is negative will absolutely not help.
Yes.
Anything
so I decided I will say things about myself that are positive.
Positive.
Does that make
Yes.
Okay, because I'm still kind of. I mean, you see the bottle.
Yeah,
so.
will it always be positive? I don't know, but it'll never be negative.
Correct.
It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So that's kind of the
I'm
latest.
going to tell you something. I don't want to. I'm not saying this is a podcast topic.
Yeah.
But
you just want to say it.
There is, you and I have talked about. We have discussed.
Yeah.
Like sci-fi writers.
Yeah.
I literally got to a point where I don't believe they predict the future.
Yes.
I believe they create the future.
Yes.
And there is a biblical precedent for this.
Oh, really?
Yes, there is.
How so?
During the debate between the disciples over the validity of who the Christ was.
Yeah.
They say that the Word became flesh. They say that the story that they are involved in, that they are living in, is a story that has been spoken and talked about and discussed since the beginning of their understanding of recorded history.
Wait. Are you suggesting that the primary guy of the T-posing religion, Jesus,
yes,
was probably spoken into existence?
There is that perspective, yes.
That they needed somebody to do a certain thing.
To be a certain person. An individual. And that they, over hundreds, thousands
of years, spoke him into existence.
When they talk about the Word became flesh.
Holy shit. I may be tipsy, but that blew my mind.
Said in the beginning was the Word, and God was the Word, and the Word was God. So
my brain hurts.
When you see, take a look at. I know we're gonna get pretty far out there with this particular perspective.
Oh yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
But it has just crossed my mind, not just now, but in the past. I have mulled this over many times.
Of course.
If you look at most of the creative content that we see, or the majority that we have seen over the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years, whatever, comes from the majority of those stories written come from people that are more associated with the Christ figure than you and I are. And they write into stories our future. So what if... And maybe it could be quantum mechanics, because quantum mechanics talks about this.
Quantum mechanics just ucks me up every time.
Where if you can create by your words, and the constant affirmation of the same story over and over and over again,
will it not become true? So does this also mean you could theoretically turn a lie into a truth and a truth into a lie? Oh God, my head.
Ultimately.
Man, I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to talk about how hectic my life has just recently become, and then how calm it decided to become.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean,
now I'm basically getting schooled.
Well, you're just getting more information on, I mean, to me, the way I look at what you're involved in, if you continue to speak the things you want, what's the worst that can happen?
I know, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to do. That whole law of manifestation and rhythm.
Right.
all the stuff I'm still doing research on. Because,
and anybody that says, "Hey, man, that stuff doesn't work," well,
according
then you aren't any worse off than you are now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's the thing: if it's a bunch of bullshit, like, here's the thing: I have also come to the conclusion that stuff like prayer and especially stuff like witchcraft, some of it, yes, some of it, no. But for the most part, like practicing spells and whatnot, is just spicy psychology.
Yeah.
Meaning you're giving yourself a placebo.
Well, what I find so interesting about
I'm not saying it's 100% a placebo, but some parts of it
people
is.
That disagree with the T-posing religion,
yeah,
a lot of them are involved in very similar activity.
Yeah, they just put a new label on it.
They choose a different source.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, to me,
I'm just trying to figure out how the universe operates. That way I can benefit best from it.
To me, from what I've seen, from what I've read.
Yeah.
Say when a pagan, a non-believer speaks, say an incantation.
Sure.
Then you have a believer that speaks a prayer.
Yeah. Is it not technically the same thing?
Are they ultimately doing something different?
Like if someone prays for...
They would say the same words, similar words.
Yeah. Like one would do a money spell and the other would pray for wealth. What's the difference? Prosperity?
Yeah,
well,
what's the difference?
What is the difference?
The difference is the source.
Yes.
So if you...
But ultimately, you're saying these things so that your mind can receive it.
Right.
And therefore, at some point, you will program yourself to make it a reality.
If that is the...
if that is how it works.
If that's the way your mind interprets it.
Yes.
Then that works.
My mind is blown. And I feel so much better. I didn't feel bad before. I just felt better.
That's lovely.
I know. I love soju so much. It has now become my favorite thing to drink.
Awesome.
Yes. I love soju.
All right.
Yeah, so that's
these type of...
I mean, we don't try to get too deep on this podcast.
No.
Except when we do, we're like, fuck you.
Well, I mean, it does
join us down the rabbit hole.
I'm just saying. I mean, if we're going to give power to it,
yes.
And a lot of people because
at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, then what's the harm in doing it anyway?
If it doesn't work, what's the harm in doing it anyway?
Yeah. But if it does work, then look at the upswing.
There has to be some kind of positive aspect.
There has to be.
Because
even if
there wasn't, people wouldn't do it.
Exactly. And it wouldn't have stuck around for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Frick. There's the reason why stuff like, where is it? It's back here somewhere. Damn it. This is why stuff like mala beads and prayer beads have existed for so long. That whole japa meditation where you're basically saying an affirmation during meditation so it sinks in harder.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That is literally all that japa meditation is. You're saying some kind of thing, be it a prayer, a Hail Mary, or like, next bead, because basically what I'm trying, I honestly, I've actually had numerous times where I've asked some people where if they're deep, being very deep into prayer is basically akin to meditation, and they get mad at me.
Yeah, people that pray don't like to...
associate with meditation.
No.
But it kind of is.
Yeah, it kind of is.
The application is different, but at the end of the day...
Basically, what people who have an issue with meditation, and I understand why, in their minds, their source
Yes.
is a higher power.
Yes.
And
do you mean meditation kind of invokes this thing where it's like reliance on the self?
Self.
But that's not 100%. That's not 100% negative aspect.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
No, there are times when
But what you have to understand is that people that pray and don't acknowledge the self are specifically told and educated that the self is weak. And the self is not a place of power.
Well,
ultimately.
I'm just saying,
they're going to call it different names and different terms and things like that, but that's ultimately what.
No, I'm not saying that the self is not a place of power and self-reliance, but I'm like, why can't you make it that way?
Well, it's the difference between, that would be called in the T-posing religious circles as humanism.
Oh.
Thinking that the individual is God.
Well, I personally
thinking that God is external.
Oh.
And people that pray or people that do affirmations per se believe that God is internal.
Yeah. Oh.
Therein lies the...
but wait, I do believe that God is both.
I do too.
So... Man, I'm too...
Some people don't believe that.
Some
people don't believe that God is both. I mean, a lot of people don't believe that God is both.
I'm just saying, like, why not? You know, you claim...
And from their perspective, they would say, why?
You claim that it's omnipresent.
For every positive thing that you can present to say it's okay to see...
Both. Or one versus the other.
Or self.
Yes.
They would come back with just as many reasons to see self as not the reason.
No, I'm just saying, I'm personally just saying that if, you know, I personally believe it's both, therefore I want to work on myself, so the internal world that I possess, that you possess of one of your own, can be just as, you know, plentiful and bountiful as the world on the outside can be.
Well,
and some people see it as that as a negative, and I'm like, why? Don't you want to be internally happy? Because sometimes you have to find happiness within, just like back.
Well, some people.
Oh God, I gotta stop drinking.
Some people are wired in a way that they don't see the self as anything worthy to embrace.
I gotta stop drinking this stuff during the podcast. Because here's the thing, I'm hearing what you're saying and I'm comprehending it.
Right.
But it's like, there's so many problems I want to fix, and I know I can't fix it because, again, I am not personally responsible for the problems of others.
Well, all you can do is, you know...
help yourself.
Help yourself.
That's
where you have to start.
That's where I have to start.
I'm not saying you have to stay there.
No,
but you gotta start.
The theme of this entire last month, starting in January and ending when I quit my job, there's been one phrase that has kept me afloat, that has kept me going. I have to save myself first.
Yeah.
And that's why I left that job that was stressing me out. It's why I didn't beat the it out of my friend boss when I had the chance to do so.
It's what they teach you on a plane.
Yeah, save yourself first.
Got to put your oxygen mask on first before you can save the person next to you.
Yeah, that's why I'm reading these books, you know, The Untethered Self.
Wrong with that.
Yeah, that's why I'm reading these books, The Untethered Self, The Inner Work, A New Earth, stuff like that. The Power of Now.
Yeah.
Because I have to save myself first.
Right.
And I want perspective on everything. And that's where I am.
And everybody's different. I mean, you know, there are people that...
everyone's journey is different.
Everyone's journey is different. They save themselves by saving others.
Yes.
I guess.
Sure.
I've watched that happen.
Yeah, everyone's journey is different. Because we're all unique individuals. Would you look at that?
Wow.
Wow.
An epiphany.
Mm-hmm. So, yes.
That's right.
I am still drinking soju.
In answer to your question from earlier, the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Awesome.
So, I am petered out. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not after that.
Oh my god.
That's some pretty deep stuff.
Man, we gotta end this lighthearted, or at the very least, take a completely different direction.
Okay, the other day, the dog started barking, so I realized that someone had put a package on the front step.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh. And I went to the door, and then I realized that it had been delivered by UPS. And
what's wrong with UPS?
Well, they're like the third tier down. The really good stuff comes FedEx.
Usually.
The second tiered good stuff comes Prime.
Yeah.
And then UPS. And if a USPS truck pulls up. Oh. See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I don't have to explain it to you.
No, you don't have to explain it because that used to be my job. That used to be my job. I used to be the
You understand the levels of delivery.
Yeah, DHL is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Especially, but DHL is really good if you need something that is basically secured, like like electronical stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you need something that is not a bomb to go through the mailing service, you go DHL because they will like scan it and make sure it is not in fact an explosive device.
Right.
But that used to be my job as a shipping manager.
Now
FedEx.
you have the different layers of delivery services that determines what shows up on your porch. Exactly.
And I would always give people advice, about like how, like something like, this website or business or whatever is offering me different ways of how they want stuff to be delivered. There's like the express option, which is FedEx and or UPS. There's like DHL, Then there's like the flat rate, which costs like no money, which is USPS. And I tell them, all right, look, I want you to look at the option that says USPS, and I want you to choose the one that is not USPS. Because if you assign USPS to deliver something, you're going to be lucky if it shows up.
Yeah.
Trust me, I have had that happen before. I would much rather have FedEx or UPS deliver it because depending on the area, one can be better or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what they're delivering. Yeah.
Sure. Like sometimes the most consistent thing I can say about say UPS is they are either going to be right on the dot or they're never going to show up.
Yeah.
FedEx, they're pretty consistent, but every now and again they will just lose your fucking package. And you gotta go through the hassle of raising a support ticket.
Do they treat you like it's your fault?
Depends.
Really?
Like, there was, at my warehouse job, there was just a solid month where at any given moment, FedEx would just lose our packages that we were sending out to people. Repeatedly.
Yeah.
And we would always, raise like a customer service support ticket because it's our shit.
Right.
And I would always tell the person who was managing all the accounts and the money, who I basically had to get permission if a package was like more than $100, I would basically phone her up and being like, hey lady from California, I love her to death, but she will fuck people up. Cause she's the one that holds the purse strings, you see.
Right.
And I'd be like, hey, it's me again. It's me again, Margaret.
It's me again, Margaret.
Yes, FedEx lost this one. I just want to let you know. Yes, we're sending another one. I just needed to let you know this was happening. All right, cool. You be good, lady. Click. For a solid month, they would do it. And then afterwards, nothing happened. So I don't know who got fired or who got demoted or whatever happened, but sometimes FedEx will have issues like that where for a period of time, they will just not care. Ever.
Yeah.
UPS is slightly more random. And typically, the primary cause of UPS's issues is if they put your, like they'll send your package out for delivery, but they'll put it on a different truck, and you gotta wait for that particular truck to get back to you, rather than truck that already passed through your neighborhood that should have been on there in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, why am I still drinking soju?
I don't know. Awesome. Awesome.
I need to lie down, man.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to get all like pumped up.
Yeah, I know. I need a nap myself.
I mean, we just talked about life and in general, then we ended with a piss take on USPS.
Hey,
That's called content.
They're responsible for that, not me.
That's called content, people.
Yeah. Beat that.
Yeah, I want to take a nap and watch John Wick.
Exactly.
The first one.
Talk about the meaning of the universe and then transition into U.S. Postal Service. I dare you.
Yeah. Fuck you.
All right.
I love soju so much.
Apparently. You're scaring the fish.
Yeah, I know. I'll settle down.
Right.
All right, so I'm good. Are you good?
I'm great.
All right. Well, that's it, folks. I was your host, Bel-E.
And I was your co-host, Mr. Scratch.
And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Goodbye.